Silence on immigration and the deal with France has been broken. Is income tax Labour's next target in the budget? BBC paying smuggling gangs, retirement age sliding further away from us, and the Brit card, so far so good or bad. This plus more here at the Blue Collar Workers. And as always, I'm John, Sean, or Yahya, depends on who you're asking.
I'm Chris.
And thank you for returning to us to Your Voice, Your Nation. As I've just given you a clips of what Chris has got coming up, for me, it's TVJ Blade on rape charges. Here we go again, BBC. Brace yourself because Sean's going to get nasty. Because the BBC has turned into the fucking kiddie fiddling show. It's beyond a joke. Tommy Robinson in police custody for GBH. Rashid Ali has resigned as homelessness minister. I think this is fucking poetic. Good riddance. And the Israeli shit-stained Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is planning for a new military push into the Gaza Strip, has raised warnings from the army leadership. Well, I think we'll go with your first one, Chris, shall we?
Keir Starmer breaks silence on the migrant deal hours after French escort more boats to the UK.
It's for safety, legal reasons why they're doing the escorts before people give the French shit.
French warships escorted migrant dinghies across the England Channel hours after Sir Keir Starmer insisted his returns deal with Macron. I can never pronounce French. Macron will be a deterrent to the Prime Minister's plan to smash the gangs faced further ridicule after the Daily Express alongside its Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philip witnessed two boats carrying dozens of people being shuttled within 30 minutes of each other.
To be fair, the French have a legal international reason for doing that. And this is the Express. I mean, you've got an obligation to make sure these people don't drown. They're already in the fucking water. They're already trying to leave your country's waters. You can see the national interest in the French doing this and making sure that they're not falling in the water.
Just wait until you hear the deal. If this deal is even remotely true, it fucks us up. The French were again accused of effectively running a taxi service to the UK and facilitating illegal immigration after escorting one of the dinghies to British waters. The French Navy vessel captain then contacted Border Force Typhoon over the radio to ask for the 60 life jackets back. In a stark assessment, Miss Phillips said the people smuggling conveyor belt is now a round trip, paid for by the British taxpayers.
Again, that's the Express.
Yeah.
Take that with a huge pinch of salt. I don't necessarily say that the return of the life jackets is something that I would absolutely say that the French said. It might be, it might not, it might be sensationalized. You've got to realize that migration isn't as massive a problem as people make it out to be. It really isn't. What the problem is, and I want to express this, is we don't have enough land, houses. We're not administering our tax code properly. We're not dealing with a multilateral problem that then leads to migration being a problem. Do you see what I'm saying? In total, this year, we've had 50,000 illegal migrants. I think it's 50,000.
Yeah, it's a 50% increase upon last year.
Yeah, 25,000. But Chris, 50,000 people in a country of 60 million is not that fucking much. It's legal, illegal migration and the lack of land and the lack of taxes and the lack of resources and the lack of solving multiple electoral problems here in the UK that the parliamentarians have ignored for decades.
I think it's more the fact of instead of actually stopping the dinghies coming across through what we've discussed before,
which is involving letting them go to embassies.
Doing embassies on the French coastline so it stops
and in Spain.
Yeah.
The entrance point, Spain, Greece, stuff like that.
Because also a tanker ship had to divert its course because of a migrant dinghy being shadowed by a French vessel across one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. This is even more reason why we need to sort this shit out, and it's starting to piss me off.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, completely. The French are doing the two things here. Yes, they are shadowing. I'm not denying the shadowing thing, but they're doing it for legal protection, Chris. Remember, the EU court will fucking fine France heavily if those people die in French or at the edge of French water. Remember, the French to British waters, there's no international water between us. In the Channel, it's French-British. So the French are responsible for one.
Narrow.
Yeah. So it's so narrow, but so the French are one side, we're the other. The French have to legally escort them to British waters because if they die in French waters, the French government's responsible. So that's what the British people have to understand. There's no international water in the Channel. It's French-British.
But then why don't they sort them out there and instead push them off onto us?
Yeah, that you have a fair point to say that. And I'm not sitting here to defend that position. What I'm trying to say is, once they're in the water, the French Navy has a legal protective need to make sure they don't fucking drown in French waters.
Then take them back to their own thing and process them there. Why they push them off on us?
Because
again, you said it's just using your own point against you.
Yeah, of course.
They have a legal obligation to make sure they don't drown.
Yeah, of course.
That does not mean push them off to us.
I'm not defending that. What I'm saying is, why are they shadowing?
No, they shouldn't be shadowing. They should be turning around going, sorry, you're not allowed in, come back, we deal with it.
They're not responsible for policing our border.
No, they're responsible for policing their border, and it's their border they're leaving before they get to ours.
True. But they're not responsible for policing what is effectively a joint border. And the French deal is trying to fix this. I'm not saying I'm not saying it's succeeding. I'm saying the goal behind the French deal was to fix the border problem.
𝐶𝐿 aimed political criticism of his deal, insisting his returns deal with Mr. Macron was a deterrent and sent a very strong message to migrants and smugglers. Border Security Minister 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 even admitted it would take time to have the impact during an extraordinary row with Mr. Philip, but the Shadow Home Secretary told the Daily Express Labour ministers are scrambling to defend the deal they clearly haven't even read. Dame 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 might think the treaty is watertight, but the truth is it is littered with loopholes. That's gone the wrong way. There we go. The meaning of the Article 4 is clear in black and white. If the Home Office are now denying it, they either don't understand what they have written or have simply made a foolish mistake. There are no numbers specified, presumably because they are so small they would embarrass the Home Secretary. France won't even tell us any information about who we have to accept back. So they could be criminals or terrorists, and we wouldn't know.
You see, that's garbage. That's garbage. We know that a French government is not going to send Britain criminals and terrorists. That's the Daily Express actually trying to dog whistle. States do not send criminals and knowingly send criminals and terrorists into another state. That in itself is an act of hostile confrontation. The French are not going to do that to Britain because, let's say Nigel Farage hypothetically gets in power because that happens, Chris, and he sends 100,000 of them to fucking France. There's nothing they can do about that. I promise you, the French are not sending terrorists and fucking. This is the Daily Express dog whistling people.
Miss Philip challenged 𝐶𝐿 and Home Secretary, what the hell, 𝐦𝐿𝐫𝐾 to watch the crisis in the Channel unfold from the water. And former Border Force Chief Tony Smith said the reason Rwanda never got off the ground was because of unrelenting opposition and delay by the Labour in the Commons and the Lords.
No, that's bollocks. It was illegal. It was internationally. The British fucking court shot it down. You see, that's Tory bullshit there, Chris. The fucking Tories wanted to ship them to Rwanda, which is not a safe country. British law won't allow you to ship immigrants. Not EU law. British law won't let you ship illegal immigrants to a third world shithole. Are you telling me, would you want to go to be deported to Rwanda?
No.
Put yourself in a migrant, would you? Because it's not a safe country, Chris.
Yeah, but I wouldn't try
of course. I'm getting
pissing shipping lane.
Of course, I get that. What I'm trying to also explain is it's not. If you were a judge and you were looking at that, your responsibility. Why aren't you sending them to France? Why aren't you sending them to Germany or Spain? The places of entry. You're only legally required to send them to the country they came from. Now, the French don't want people to say that. Let's be quite frank about that. You could lawfully, if you were the Home Secretary, Chris, you could lawfully pack up 100,000 legal immigrants and smack them straight to the French Calais. Pay the money to get them over there. That is legal by both Britain and Europe.
I'll do that.
You see what I'm saying? That's not discussed because it would start massive friction between France and Britain.
Well, I'm sorry, but France needs to start up.
Yeah, of course. And that's the conversation that the French are not having.
Yeah.
And the British political elite are not having. But
they all need to grow a pair of pissing balls and raise your fucking game.
Absolutely.
Because I'm getting sick and tired.
But again, it's only 50,000.
I don't give a crap. Today it's 50,000. Next, 10 years' time, it could be 100,000.
It won't. I think you're exaggerating. You and the Daily Express and things like that over-exaggerate. Remember, we had an ebb. In 2023, it was less. A lot less than 2022.
Well, it's still an increase.
Yeah, of course. And in 2020, I believe it dipped below. It actually dropped below in 2019. Do you know what I'm saying?
So what's the difference between the dip and now the rise?
The weather patterns, migrant patterns, bombs being dropped in the Middle East, death toll. Look, there's a fucking crisis going on in Gaza. People are wanting to get away from countries where bombs can be dropped on. No one is going to drop. Let's want to look at the big magnets that come into Britain. What has Britain got that you has? If you're a brown person, Britain is not going to...
What does it matter on skin colour, you bloody twat?
Think about it, because the racist bastards out there. That's why.
I don't give a shit about skin colour, and you racist fuckers can fuck off.
But what I'm saying is, say from the point of view from a Middle Eastern person, where are the countries that are not getting bombed? The ones that have their own nukes.
Maybe
So
Europe.
if you, Europe. So you want to come to Europe because it's safer. Your home fucking continental areas. Remember, 2/3 of the Arab world is in rubble. Syria's in rubble. Iraq's in rubble.
I'm not disputing that. But what my question is if they want to come to Europe, why are they skipping through Germany, France, Spain,
That, again,
and then coming
valid.
to the UK?
Very valid. All valid reasons. Absolutely valid points of view. I don't have a problem with any of them. What I'm saying is, why is there a refugee crisis? We are selling too many fucking weapons to the Israelis. The Israelis are murdering too many fucking
I know
people.
Israel is a fucking dumbass.
That's what's causing a large... Stop the bombs going to Israel. You will stop your migration problems.
I'm going to be honest. Is he actually listening to anybody at the moment?
No, he's fucking nutcase.
So there you go.
He's a nutcase. But that is a fundamental point of view. If Europe was to strangle the arms trade to Israel, you would see a decrease in all forms of migration, because people would realize that their home country is safe. And many Muslims, many brown people, and I say this for what it is, want to live amongst their own communities and their own culture. They come here for safety. You are a nuclear armed nation, Britain. No one's dropping bombs on your towns and cities.
But my point still stands.
Oh yeah,
Why are they not stopping anywhere
France
else?
and Germany, not completely.
I'm sorry, but I bet how much bigger is France and Germany and everywhere else compared to us?
Yeah, and they have more developed land than we do. I know. There is migration pull factors as well.
Yeah,
there are migration pull factors that we are not touching base on.
The only thing I'm getting from this article is
Written by the Daily Express.
I'm just literally taking out key valid points. Now, obviously, they exaggerate shit like no tomorrow, worse than what I do. Why aren't we actually making sure France upholds what they should be doing, just in their own borders anyway, to reduce the amount of illegal, that just stop the boat crossings anyway? Yeah, I know they have a legal obligation to make sure they're safe if they enter that water. But my point is where are they intercepting them on the water?
So stop. Let me first this. Remember how big the French coastline is. So the French border patrol, I think there's only like 2,000 of them in total, plus all of their boats and equipment, have got to patrol, I think, a 500 or 600 mile border. Some of it's remote and rugged territory. So you've got to remember, there's a manpower issue that people are completely ignoring.
It's not just about the manpower. It's about that if they want to stop it, my concern is where are they spotting them? If it's actually in English waters, then why don't you just radio across to us instead of you escorting across? Or just sit with them until a British escort comes along and puts them across. Because I could guarantee you 90% of the public will turn around and go, oh, hang on, they were spotted in British waters.
The French border team have actually been reduced in the last 2 years because of cost of spending in the French government. Because remember, the French government is strapped for cash, massively strapped for cash. So the people who should be doing this job, as you quite rightly said, the DNPAF, which is the French word for the border police, the National Border Police, they don't have the money to carry it, Chris. So once they find them in the waters, they have a moral obligation to make sure they're safe.
Yeah, but
now, of course, which way they're going.
Which end do they catch them in? If they're in the French waters, they should be escorted back to France.
Oh,
if they're in British waters, that's when they should then turn and go. If they're strapped for, obviously said for people, obviously monitoring the borders, get on the blower to us, go, there's migrants in your water, you need to take care of that. Us, as our nation will naturally make sure they get here safe.
We also don't have enough fucking border guards.
Yes, but then,
and that's a fundamental thing. We don't have enough.
We don't have enough, they don't have, but we need to start working as a team. And
absolutely, but that's the thing. British politicians don't want to work with French politicians to solve these problems.
The funny fucking shit. It's called pull up your rugs and do what your fucking job meant to be.
The Tories closed all of this stuff, Chris. Remember, we had many of these border control areas. When we left Europe, did migration increase or decrease? Let's be honest about this.
I think it's slowly increased.
It's massively increased. by percentages.
Definitely at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, because we have closed, because the Tory, 14 years Tory government closed multiple checkpoints, multiple agreements. These agreements were withdrawn from.
I'm starting to see like a little pattern here. Oh, if we close this, and then we can say migration is an issue.
You see, it's the lawful migrants we would have had coming into this country were about 10 to 20,000 when we were a part of Europe.
I don't think it's the fact that obviously all Brits know immigration happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the fact
all migration happens.
All migration
we live in
happens,
a birth deficit country.
Yeah.
That's an important factor.
We know migration happens. Yeah. We'd rather prefer it all be legal,
lawful and safe.
Literally all legal across the board, which includes it safe and everything else, rather than seeing a French border patrol officer escort a dinghy into our waters and onto our shore.
That's the point. And remember, Chris, that's 400 miles of our shared border.
Yeah.
They've then got one to the Atlantic. They've then got one to the Mediterranean. And that's what their force isn't just controlling the channel. That's not just for the fucking channel. Their entire border patrol police have to control entire sections of their borders, including the Spanish one, the German one. So they're strapped. They're fucking strapped. They need 20 or 30,000 border guards. They don't have 20. We don't have that many, and we would like that many.
If we had that many, we wouldn't.
The Border Force Typhoon is our major fucking ship. There's, I think we've got like 6 of them because we did look last time.
Yeah. But the main point I'm getting from this is somebody isn't pulling away, and by the sounds of it, both sides aren't pulling their weight.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the government doesn't want to pay for it. The Border Force cutters. You remember this conversation we had, Chris? We have 2 of them. Most of them have retired now. We now have the custom cutters, the UKBF 42s. We only have 4 of them, Chris. 4 of them. 4 Border Force cutters for our entire country.
Now, see, this is an interesting point. I never got time to look into it because I was looking into the Brit card. But consistent legal challenges by human rights lawyers, both in UK and the ECHR, that would have been a much better deterrent than this deal. Absolutely.
And again, I don't agree with withdrawing from the Human Rights Act, but the lawyers and judges need to be slapped. And a way to solve this without losing mine and Chris's and all the working class people's actual legal rights would be to turn around and go, okay, let's put a clause. As Britain is a sovereign nation, you go to Parliament, Parliament is legally sovereign. Yeah, we agree to that. Yeah, but Parliament has the legal power of written law. We add a caveat. If you are a criminal, if you are have any kind of criminal record, if you have not got stateable families, you do not have a right to remain in the United Kingdom. That should be a caveat. And all the human rights abilities have to be written into that by the British Human Rights Act. Because even though we're a signatory towards the EHE, we can change our side. Labour doesn't want to, because they know that that's surrendering to slightly to the right wing. But that's what we need now, because we know these lawyers are taking us for a vampire, because they're getting our taxpaying money is paying for these lawyers to represent these human beings in court. Do you know what I'm saying? And yes, I think that's disgusting. That's disgusting. If you are a criminal and you've crossed via a dinghy, you're going fucking back the other way. End of conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Me and Chris don't have a divide on that. If you're an innocent person desperately trying to avoid bombs, that's where I think you should go to a refugee centre, and I would calculate how your skills are. And Chris would be looking, they better be good, because that's the way he thinks. But you have a right to at least be seen. If you're a criminal, me and Chris don't have a change of opinion. Out the fucking door.
Yeah.
It's not even a conversation unless, and I said this last podcast tonight, unless it's stealing food. And if they've honestly sold us that they've stolen food,
if they come across as honest, saying the reason I've done it was to feed the family.
Like if it's a family, if you see a man, wife, 2 small children, and he said, I've stolen to feed them, I will get in Chris's face and say, that's humane. That man needs to feed his family and he's coming to Britain because he's got nothing. And again, it comes from tribal points of view. If they're Iraqis and Syrians, we take them in because fucking Israelis are bombing the shit out of them. If this is someone from the middle of Africa, I'm sorry, I'm not here to solve Africa's overpopulation problems. I'm just not. Okay, because that's what it is. Africa is dumping its mass population that it can't handle into Europe. It is. And this isn't some. I'm left centre, and I'm saying that for what it is. If they're the war-torn countries that have been destroyed by Western fucking influence, yes, we are responsible for that. Yes, we should sort that out until we can fix the fucking criminal behaviour that's going on with Benjamin Nutcase Netanyahu.
Yeah, but I can understand that point, but literally the rest, I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, Chris, and I'm not far shy from that myself, in a humane manner. But humane has been taken to a stupid level by human rights lawyers. And that needs to be curbed. And you're right in that. And you're absolutely right on that. That needs to be curbed. But our border force has 4 fucking cutters. I would want 40. Yeah? 40 cutters. That would solve our fucking problem.
100.
I don't even know how much these fucking things cost, Chris. You might not say that when you see the price tags.
Don't give a shit.
7.5 million a ship.
Time to roll up our sleeves and get to work, boys.
That's not expensive. 7.5 million. I think Chris is like, is that all? I'll take 100.
The rest of everything else we're fucking paying out for, might as well just fucking sort something out, innit?
So it's 7.5 million for a border.
Divert the money for paying for the fucking lawyers to defend these bloody stupid twats coming over. You got your cutters.
Chris's solution. Human rights lawyers, you're not being paid by us anymore. Take that money, stick it into the border force. Oh, I can see the human rights lawyer. He's a monster. I'm solving problems, says Chris. Taking money that you shouldn't be spending against your own country and putting it into the force that should be used to defend the country.
That would literally be the statement I used, and they'd be like,
Yeah, the leftists will hate you. You know that, don't you?
I don't give a shit. I'll turn and go, I'm making our land safer and more protected. So stick right up your ass.
John's opening the embassies back in France and back in Italy and back in Spain and back in Greece so people can lawfully migrate. That's what our problem is.
Yeah.
Both a humane approach and a monster approach at solving the illegal gangs. Because the illegal gangs are making money on us. The illegal gangs are charging these people. These people are being mistreated when they get into these refugee centres. These people are being smuggled across. And these are fundamental problems we need to. There is a massive level of illegality that we need to resolve as well. And the bank accounts that these people are making their cash to, we need to scrutinise that too. Remember, London has one of the biggest banking fucking establishments going. How the fuck can we not track this stuff? With a world-class banking system.
It's got. Keep it quiet.
No, and that I have a fucking problem with. Anyway, moving on. TVJ Blaine on rape charges with the BBC. Tell me, BBC, the British Broadcasting Centre of kiddie fiddlers, child molesters and sex predators.
One's got force a pissing stupid TV licence you don't fucking need.
How is it that you constantly have year after fucking year after year of sexual predators rolling out? TV presenter Jay Blaine has been charged with 2 accounts of rape. The BBC presenter, another one, has been charged with 2 accounts of rape. Mr. Blaine, best known for his hosting BBC's shows The Repair Shop, will appear in court next Wednesday over the allegations, police have said. A West Mersey police spokesman said Jason Blaine, 55, of Cleveland in Shropshire, has been charged with 2 accounts of rape. He is due to appear in Telford Magistrate Court on the 13th of August 2025. I'm sorry, I have to ask the fucking question. BBC, what are you doing? How are these people not being vetted? How is it that you have a culture, a fucking culture of sex predators, rapists, child molesters for the last 2 decades? Remember, Savile hasn't been dead that long. Jimmy Savile has not been dead that long. And this shit continues to resurface, BBC. Again and again and again, ad nauseum. When are we going to burn that fucking place to the ground? And I have to say it like that. When are we going to set the fucking stage on fire, burn all the executives, burn all the producers, burn it to a cimbers and rebuild from the ground upwards? I'm sorry, Chris. I'm fuming at this. Every other fucking, just this year alone, me and Chris have spoken about BBC's sexual problems 3 fucking times. 3 times, Britain.
And we've only just crossed half the fucking year.
Yeah, 3 times in half the year that we've discussed your sexual fucking problems in the fucking goddamn press. This isn't something we've learnt from insider information. It's over every fucking newspaper.
I dread to think what they've dragged up from insider information.
It boggles your brain. Why is there not an investigation?
Not looking into this.
No, how is there not a political inquiry into the BBC? How is the British broadcaster not being publicly inquired?
That deals with that sort of thing?
Useless cunts. Metpol are fucking useless.
What are the other ones that's supposed to deal with?
Metpol upper brass do what the politicians tell them to do, not serve and protect. Metpol are cunts. I've got no beef with any police force outside of the Metropolitan Police Force. I believe almost all the coppers have good and bad. The Metpol at the top level, not most of the police at the ground, but on the top level are all cunts. The whole lot of them. I don't even apologise about that. But this is the standard behaviour. Meanwhile, Mr. Blades appeared in court in Worcestershire via video link alongside his legal team on Tuesday for a preliminary hearing related to separate charges of control or conversive behaviour. So that's outside the rape charges.
Hang on, so he's got rape charges plus
control and coercion behaviour. From the BBC. Britain, I need to emphasise this. We need to start actually hammering home how fucking disgusting the BBC is. It is a decade on, decade off horror show.
Doesn't our TV licence pay for the BBC?
Yeah. Yeah, for those who pay
our own money is funding this.
Yeah. It's a fucking can of worms. And I bet you if we open that up, we should open up Parliament and see how many Epstein motherfuckers are in there. I'm telling you, Chris, that Epstein stuff is like a stench, an absolute fucking stench. So conversation for another day. Mr. Blaine became one of the best known faces on British TV after the repair shop launched in 2017, which members of the public bringing their treasured possessions and heirlooms to be fixed. It began in a daytime slot and then moved to prime time after it became a hit. The show won a National TV Award in 2023 and also won a BAFTA the same year, literally 2 years ago, from its royal special, in which the future king took a clock and vase to the workshop. He has also hosted Money for Nothing, Jay Blaine's Home Fix and Jay Dorm's Home Fix. In 2022, he fronted a documentary about learning to read at the age of 51. He was honoured with an MBE in 2021. That's got to be stripped. Mr. Blaine stepped back from presenting the repair shop last year. Why? Just why? Why again, BBC, have we got sex predators, child rapists, men who prey on underage boys? I mean, the sodding list goes on. And fucking Ariston. And I know I bone about this, but this seems to come out every other couple of fucking months. Me and Chris are covering it. There needs to be a public inquiry into the BBC. There genuinely does. Because it's our taxpayers' money that floats some of their fucking projects. And I'm beyond disgusted at this. It is. It's a fucking sex den. It has become a sex den of ill repute and depravity. And this is the British Broadcasting Centre. Is this what we've become, Britain? Anyway, I'm going to give a bit of a break, let my boy get to his second point, because I could rage about this for fucking days.
Starmer opens door to income tax rise in autumn's budget as pressure to fill the 50 billion hole mounts. So that lovely little promise that he made of not raising taxes is now under threat.
I remind everybody, we have 110,000 tax loops in this here United Kingdoms that no one talks about. And we have tax giveaways for some of the richest fucking companies on this island. Stop that, we'll fill that hole like that. No problem. Problem solved. We've said this since, what, podcast 2?
Yeah.
Podcast 2, we are always telling you, change the fucking tax system.
Keir Starmer has opened the door to increase in income tax this autumn as he faces growing pressure to fill a 50 billion shortfall in the public finances. Speaking to the broadcasters, the Prime Minister defended his record and insisted Labour had stabilised the economy since it came to power last year, adding that the budget would make sure people feel better off. How are you making people better off?
No, stop. Remember all them trade deals we praised him for? Yeah. They are making bite now. The money is coming in. It's just slowly coming in. That's the fucking problem.
However, asked multiple times whether he would explicitly rule out breaking the manifesto pledge of not raising VAT, income tax and corporation tax. It said in the autumn, we'll get the full forecast and obviously set out our budget. It comes less than a month after the Prime Minister vowed that the Labour would not rise the three main taxes. Asked the Prime Minister's questions whether he could guarantee that the government would honour the pledge, he gave a simple yes.
You see, I don't know whether the Prime Minister will have to by financial means.
Leading economist has warned Rachel Reeves that she must raise taxes to tear up the flagship borrowing rules to fill a $50 billion black hole left by the combination of the Labour U-turns, high borrowing and sluggish economic growth. Jonathan Portes, a former Treasury advisor and professor of economics and the public policy at King's College London, told The Independent that he believes wealthy pensioners should bear the brunt of any tax rises. Why are we going after the pensioners?
Again, Chris, this is something that the right-wing press like to yam on about. There is no evidence that the Prime Minister or anybody in Labour has even discussed talking about the pensioners yet. Yeah. I personally don't agree with the triple lock system. I think that these pensioners need to understand, even though they've spent decades paying into the system, a triple lock is financially burdensome when we have an enormously greying system. When me and Chris make it financially, I have no problem supporting my mother. I have no problem supporting my siblings. I know Chris is a family man as well. He'll do the same. But that's what you need. You need ambition these days to start looking after your own kin and Keith. Because the idea that a state pension will carry you forward is a joke. Let's be fair, Chris. It's not enough. You yourself have a private fucking pension. Yeah. I'm starting to look into a private pension. There is the reality you have to understand. We have not the means that state pensions will hold anymore. And a triple lock just isn't enough. And it is a massive burden on a shrinking working population, especially when you've got Britain that has a lot of anti-migrant taste. Migrants pay tax. And that's a horrible thing people don't like being told. Migrants are paying taxes that fund the services that you live in. Okay? You get rid of your migrants, you are going to take a chunk of fucking change out of your tax budget. And I know Chris's point of view, lawful migrants, Chris hasn't got a problem with. Unlawful migrants is what Chris's problem. That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah? Legal migrants...
If you've come into this country through the legal routes and everything else, I have no quibbles because you've done your footwork, you've done your homework.
Yeah, exactly.
You've gone through the process. You've literally turned around and done it the proper way. The ones that are getting in here illegally is what I have the issue with. Because you don't know who they are. No. You don't know what they're capable of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know most people say, oh, so I'm going to be like one in so many, that could be an issue. Well, it's only that one that needs to spoil the entire bunch.
Yeah, no, completely. And again, I'm not here hiding what Chris is saying. I agree. We need to understand who we can bring in. Illegal migrations with criminals, especially rapists, paedophiles, murderers, concrete major thieves, professional syndicate criminals. That all needs to stop. And that's something that France and Britain has to work on. All right? There isn't a question of migrants coming into Britain. It's a question of illegal migrants with criminal records. And that needs to be mentioned more. But fundamentally, I think that the pension, going back to the pensional point of view, is I don't think it's an argument. I think the right wing are dog whistling it.
He said, obviously, there is still a lot of uncertainty about how large tax rises it should be. I think basic principle has to be the tax and the pension system needs to be rebalanced so that the better off people, especially those with substantial property and pension wealth, make a much larger contribution to addressing the fiscal pressure and the result from increasing spend on NHS, social care and pensions. Also, it is long past time to raise fuel duty. I have a different approach.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah,
with the fuel duty.
I'm thinking more what you're saying. Fuck you, redo the tax system.
Rebuild the entire tax system so it's a fairer system.
No fucking loopholes. I don't shit.
There's the 110,000 pages.
Bring that lovely... I know for a fact that the more millions you make, the higher the tax goes on you, which I think is absolutely stupid. How are you supposed to enjoy your money if they're taking 80 to 90%?
You are not going to get 80, 90%. Me and Chris won't get... We believe in a reformed tax system. We won't pay 80, 90%. We won't.
I can guarantee you turn around and drop that to say about 40% And then on
50.
Between 40 and 50, depending on...
Me and him have a disagreement on that.
Depending on, I'm going to say, more economical balance than anything else.
Britain, you're starting to notice something. Upper middle class, no, 40%. Working class, no, 50. The fuckers need to put their hand in their pocket. That's the difference.
I will literally look at the books and go, okay, how much do we need to balance back out? I may turn and go, all right, for the first 5 years, it is 50, then I'll drop it to 40 after that. Yeah, it'd be along those compromises. But straight off, standard working class people, straight in.
Yeah, absolutely. 20%. Exactly. Because there's no fucking reason to be taxing your working class people.
But then I would also abolish quite a few other taxes at the same time.
Council tax goes out the fucking door.
Yeah.
We don't need... The Tories brought that in. They brought the councils to pay for their own fucking stuff so that they could swivel away with the money. That needs to change. We need to literally remove the council tax. That's a burden off the British people already. And again, one of the key things that me and Chris agree with, nationalise all the water and electric. Lock, stock and barrel. They have fucked us. They have been using national services that need to be re-seized. And that's not a left-wing idea. That really isn't. That is, they're dumping sewage in our fucking water.
Straight off nationalise the entire grid. I even do the rail as well. Fuck that shit. Get public transport in the grid.
Rail could be a bit more of a sticky situation. No. I say do power and water first.
I was going to say it will be utilities first and then public transport after. Yeah. That would be my goal. But straight off, tax system be straight on the thing.
The taxes have to be fucking reformed. You cannot maintain 110,000 pages. There are banks in the UK that don't pay any tax, Chris.
I don't give a shit, they'll be paying tax.
There's technology companies that are making billions out of us that are paying 5-10% tax.
And to the people that will turn around and say, oh, but you'll push companies out, I'll turn around and go, then they'll lose the fucking goddamn right to trade in our fucking economy.
If they go, they lose more than what they would pay in tax.
Yeah, they will lose more in profit than what they would if they actually paid the fucking tax. And most will actually turn around and pay it because they will want to exit the British market. And if they say, what if all of them leave? Then it's the local people, the local industries and everything else which could turn around.
2% as of 2022 is the tech companies make 2% tax of things, and they make billions out of us.
They're paying 2% tax.
2%.
2% tax.
For the digital age.
2% tax.
Well, you know we can't. We've got to set the example.
We'll set the example, right? So if you're paying 2%, we're paying 2%. Oh, but what about your infrastructure? Then up yours, and then we'll up ours. Watch them shit themselves then.
Yeah. Most companies pay around 25 to 15% as an estimate because of all the tax giveaways and their abilities to dodge it through law. And that's dodge it through lawful means. Yeah. I'm not saying they're breaking the law. I want to be very, very clear. These companies they're using legal loopholes to pay between 25 and 15% tax. That is morally bankrupt. No company making millions or billions should be paying 15% tax. None. Nada. Don't give a fuck who they are.
The sole summary is, instead of trying to up income tax and everything else, it's time to look at your own tax system and start solving that problem.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the only thing I see from that. Instead of trying to lump us with the bill,
which they've been doing for the last 40 fucking years.
Sort out your own fucking in-house, and you're guaranteed, oh, hang on, the hole's gone.
Yeah, unsurprisingly.
That's on that point. You're next.
Yeah, Tommy Robinson in police custody for GBH. You nasty cunt. 42-year-old man has been arrested on suspicions of grievous bodily harm in connections to the alleged assault at St Pancras Station on the 28th of July. I mentioned this last podcast. In coming in after a video emerged appearing to show the right-wing activist Tommy Robinson, real name Stefan 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿, walking back from Forth next to a man lying motionless on the ground. Police said that the man was arrested at Luton Airport shortly after 6:30 p.m. following a notification that the man had boarded an incoming flight from Faraso. I'm telling you this now, he's going back to prison. Okay? This is an evil little man that needs to go to prison. He's also bought and paid for by Zionists. And the British establishment aren't stupid. He is dangerous. And he's dangerous enough that when the Tories and Labour need to state Israel, you need to fucking behave yourself. Israel activates people like Tommy Robinson to cause all kinds of chaos across Britain. That fucker needs to stay in prison. Stay in prison indefinitely. The man has been wanted for questioning after leaving the country to Tenerife in the early hours of the 29th of July following the incident at St. Pancras, officer said. He was arrested on suspicions of grievous bodily harm and will now be taken into custody for questioning. Officers said that they were called to the scene just after 8:45 p.m. on Monday last week following reports of an assault and battery. The man was taken to hospital with serious injuries, but was also discharged and healed by last Wednesday. Tommy Robinson is one of those cancerous individuals that has been fed by right-wing press. You see, when I caution Chris about talking about the Express and the Daily Mail and the Mirror and that lot, he knows to take it with a pinch of salt. Not enough people are saying that. Not enough national people are saying that. Remember, the right-wing press exaggerates everything. And that's what the combination of a mentally unstable, mentally incapable man like Tommy Robinson from Luton.
And my next target example of how they blow things up.
Absolutely. I mean, I, don't get me wrong. I think Tommy Robinson has never been truly shown the benefits of migration. He's been fed this narrative, latched onto by foreign agents, because that's who Mossad are. Mossad are involved with Tommy Robinson. Everyone fucking knows that. Nick Griffin, one-time leader of the BNP, turned round and said he is an agent for Zionism. So one of the most right-wing people of the country at one point has told very clearly that Tommy Robinson is an agent for a foreign nation. Why the fuck isn't he in prison for espionage?
That is very true.
Just disgusting. Go on in, Chris.
This should be a lovely short one. BBC paying smuggling gangs £1,200 of taxpayer-funded money. Hang on. That is obviously from the Daily Express, this example of them blowing things up. So I read it. I looked at it and went, hey, what's going on here? But as I was reading, I was like, this is an interesting one because of the fact, I'm like, hang on, this is part of an investigation. BBC reporters paid over £1,200 as part of an investigation into people smuggling gang. Deemed responsible for the deaths of dozen Channel migrants, it is reported the Corporation Paris correspondent Andrew Harding spent a year investigating the gang, which operated small boat crossing to the UK from northern France. Undercover reporters secretly filmed members of the gang as well as its encampment hideout in a French forest near Dunkirk. The reporter arranged for a colleague to pay hundreds of pounds for a place on a boat to cross the channel to a...
So it was a cover. So that's all it is. It's a cover.
So to me, this is a waste of public funded money.
That's telling us what the fuck is going on by having an internal investigation into it.
That's someone that's doing the footwork to expose a fucking gang. So in my eyes, that £1,200 is well spent. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not a praiser of BBC because of all the fucking kiddie fiddling we've just mentioned in the earlier part of the podcast.
The gang member can be seen receiving £900 in cash from the undercover colleague at the station. A further payment of $348 was handed over to another gang member in France. In the report, which appeared across the BBC on Tuesday, August 5th, Mr. Hardin says in a voiceover that that's it. He's taken the money and left the station. You may well be asking why we would pay to criminals. We believe it is the only way we can get access to the gangs to expose its network, not least its network here in the UK. Well, to be quite honest, what's the difference between an undercover reporter doing it and an undercover agent?
Yeah, no.
That's what I pose to you guys, is they trying to twist the title of the article.
Oh, absolutely.
You think, they're using our money, but it's a reporter doing it. But what's the difference between a reporter and a copper or undercover agent, spy, whatever you want to call it, doing the footwork? Because the money will still need to be changed hands.
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, I think this is necessarily a good position to be in. Yeah. I'm not common to praise the BBC. It does irritate me sometimes how they behave, and especially when it comes to their internal ability to deal with their criminals. But this is a good thing. This is the part of the BBC I want to save. This is part of
the section we want to save because it's exposing shit which should be dealt with.
Absolutely, as well as things like Doctor Who and like the cultural fucking things that make the BBC great. But we need to start scrutinising how they hire these people, how they investigate them, how they don't hold them accountable.
They need to vet their people better.
Absolutely. As I said, burn all the top fucking brass out. They're responsible for this. They are absolutely culpable for the blame.
Bad code choice across the board.
I find that investigation, that is again a misconception of how much our country kind of like dog whistles.
They're trying to fix it on one point without actually realising on the articles that they're exposing the gang.
Yeah.
They're not paying the gang, just paying a gang.
They're paying the gang to learn information about how their smuggling operation works.
They're using that route which all other people use if necessary to expose it and eliminate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's an unnecessary evil.
Yeah.
So, I have on my side, Rashid Ali has resigned as Homelessness Minister. Downing Street has confirmed. The move, and the reason I'm laughing, Brittany, because if you've seen her in the press just recently in the iPaper, I was reading this. The move comes after she was accused of hypocrisy over the way she handled rent increases on a home she owns in East London. Okay, almost all East London fucking landlords are cunts. Caveat: I say that because I've got family living in London. There were calls for her to step down from the homelessness charities and opposition politicians. In a letter to the Prime Minister, she said, at this time, I had followed all the relevant legal requirements. You see how they always say legal requirements? Because the legal requirements are a fucking joke in London. An absolute joke. Landlords can get away with unbelievable shit. It's unreal. But they remain in the role would be a distraction from the ambitious work of this government. Bollocks. You got caught with your fucking hand in the till. You allowed your rent, you fired your tenants. You said you were selling it. You couldn't sell it. You put it back on the market and jacked it up. Bitch, you have to go. You're the Minister of fucking Homelessness.
It's contradictory to what you're supposed to
Yeah, the row was sparked after Ali ended her tenancy fixed-term contracts in order to sell up, but then relisted the house for rent at a higher price within 6 months, which is something that she is currently trying to outlaw under the Renters' Right Bill, which I absolutely agree with the Renters' Right Bill. But how the fuck can you not do that? That's just
pure hypocrisy. I'm trying to stop this, but hang on, I'm going to do it to myself.
In a story first broken by the iPaper, externally, a former tenant said that she was sent an email in November giving her 4 months' notice the lease would not be renewed. She said shortly after she and her 3 other tenants had moved out, the house in East London had been relisted at a rent of £700 a month. In the letter to the Prime Minister, Ali wrote, "It is with a heavy heart that I offer you my resignation as a minister. Investing that all times I have followed all relevant legal requirements." Of course it's legal, because you're trying to fucking change the law, you dirty bitch. Oh, this fucking shit, mate. This is why I don't live in London, Chris. Because I'd be stabbing fucking ministers. Because
I don't live in London because it's too fucking expensive.
Exactly. I believe I took my responsibilities and duties seriously, and the facts demonstrate that. However, it is clear that the continuation in my role will be a distraction from the ambitious work of this government. I have therefore decided to resign from my ministry. No, you resigned because you got caught in your fucking hand in the till while you're trying to change the law. Woman, you're a disgrace. You're a disgrace.
You was literally going, I'm going to pocket from this before I change it myself.
Yeah. The PM praised her work. Now, bollocks. To repeal the Vagrancy Act, and added, I know that it will continue to support the government from the backbenchers and represent the best interests of your constituencies in Bethnal Green. Bethnal Green, fire her. This is the type of response we need to give these ministers. When they act in a disgusting way towards people who can't buy a house and are renting, you fire them. You fire them from the fucking constituency and the party. A source close to Ali said that she previously fixed-term contracts had been ended because the house was being put up for sales, and that the tenants had been told they could stay on a rolling basis whilst the house was on the market, but they had chosen to go, which is cool. The house was then put on the market in November 2024, with an asking price of £914,000. Jesus Christ, nearly $1 million, Chris. But was reduced in February by 20,000, and then the iPaper said it had only been relisted as a rental because it had not sold. Ali's resignation is particularly awkward because of the subject matter, as Labour went to the election promise to strengthen the rights of private tenants. The fuck are you on, Labour? That's the kind of shit that the Tories do, and we expect from the Tories, and we still give them shit for it. The very rules that they take are taken through Parliament at the moment would have stopped what Ali has been accused of. The government's rental rights bill is in its final stages in Parliament and will ban landlords from relisting a property for rent if they have ended a tenancy in order to sell it for 6 months. She literally did it within 6 months.
That's crazy.
Landlords must be also given 4 months' notice to tenants when the legislation is passed, which is not expected to be until at least next year. London Renters Union spokesman Sayan Smith said Ali's actions were indefensible and she must step down due to a clear conflict of interest. Of course, it's a clear conflict of fucking interest. Why is this slimy shit going on in fucking Labour, which is the same slimy shit we kicked out for 14 fucking years? The Renters Reform Coalition, which represents private renters, said her resignation was the right decision. She should never have done it. She should never have been given the role. How is someone who owns private property in London given the homelessness fucking goddamn a job? That is someone you don't want in that, because you can see a conflict of interest in brewing. How did her fucking bosses in the Home Office, in the fucking Prime Minister, in the Chancellor not see that coming?
I could have saw that coming. I mean,
You're a private landlorder, and you're going into protecting people from homelessness. That's a conflict of interest just by itself.
That's literally, if I was the one doing the interview, I would try and go, right, so you own your own property which you rent out. How do you see this not as a conflict of interest, trying to be a spokesperson for the homeless?
Yeah.
And if she goes, I don't see it being a conflict of interest, I'd be like, sorry, you have not got the job.
Yeah, exactly. And it boggles.
If you can't spot that that's going to be a conflict of interest, then bye-bye.
When the Tory party chairman speaks up, I completely fucking ignore this cunt, because the Tories have been fighting this bill and the actions of this bill for 14 years, because they are the biggest fucking slumlords in London. Every Tory fucking frontbencher and backbencher has properties in London that they rent at exorbitant fucking prices. This is designed to stop them. So when this cunt opens his mouth, I don't take him seriously. Tory party chairman Kevin Holdenrake was among the other opposition politicians accusing Ali of staggering hypocrisy over the handling of property. Yes, she is, but your fucking party is the reason we're building these laws. You cunt and all of your mates are like that. Unfucking real. After she quit, she added in the rights that the Rashid Ali has now quit the government following our calls for her to go. Keir Starmer promised a government of integrity, but has instead presented over a government of hypocrites and self-service. Yes, but you Tories led the fucking path. You paved the concrete for them. Showed them where all the flags are so they could drive the fucking cart down the road. Don't sit there like you're on some high horse, you motherfucker. Your nose is in that trough right now. I know I'm making the cunt laugh, but I'm sick and tired of Tories acting like you fuckers don't do this.
Such hypocrisy from both
just Ali's the 6th MP who has quit Starmer's government over policies and become of allegations made against her. This is not the sort of numbers that threaten the government, but it is an embarrassment for a government that has a long time in opposition to get the house in order. What are you doing? Oh, I forget. Keir Starmer's a fucking Zionist. He doesn't care. I'm being a fucking savage today. Right fucking savage. Tories, you have no fucking right to speak. You cunts. You've done all of the same thing that the fucking Labour has done. You're rank hypocrites for sitting up and questioning them. Liberal Democrats, why the fuck haven't you said something? Why haven't you said something? Ooh, my fucking veins are popping right now. What's on your side?
It's going to get your veins popping even further. What's the title? There we go. I can't stand this freaking thing. Britain's sandwich generation sees retirement slide further away. Sandwich generation. Fuck's sake. When did it get called that?
When did we get called that?
Yeah. British sandwich generation is feeling the squeeze. Faced with the challenge for caring. Bear in mind, they refer to Gen Xers. Yeah.
They're talking about,
yeah. Faced with the challenge of caring for children and elderly parents, this cohort of Gen X adults born between 1965 and 1980. Sorry, I'm just outside that.
Shut up.
It's now also braced for another financial curveball. This has been thrown up by the Labour's review into the state pension age, raising fears that swathes
of the so-called sandwich generation.
Will have to stay in work for longer. But to be quite honest, at this rate, everyone's going to have to stay in work for longer. So.
Yeah, no, it's not just our generation.
Yeah.
My generation.
His generation.
My generation. To be quite fair, the fundamental is
his generation, my generation, and next anyway. So.
Yeah.
As well as sparking a debate over delay retirement, the review has also highlighted an uncomfortable reality for many parents who have spent years spending on others instead of saving into their pension. Emma McCarthy is a single mother of two who runs a personal trading business. She also looks after her father, who has dementia. Before starting her own company, the 47-year-old worked in a white-collar role in London, but never gave any thought to how much she was paying towards her pension.
Stop a minute, mate. This is what I've been saying to you, Britain. You have to be more conscious about your money and how you're generating it. You genuinely fucking do. Because the state pension will not hold you anymore.
Companies pay into a pension, though, for you.
And again, it's still not enough, Chris. It's not going to hold you. This magnificent mother of two is looking after her dementia father. Fantastic. Madam, thank you for the service you cause, because the taxpayer would have to carry that in if he was put in a dementia care home. The fantastic is that woman is carrying burden. Why is her tax so fucking high? Why hasn't she been given a tax cut for looking after her father and not costing us taxpayers more money? That's schemes, tax-paying schemes that should exist for the working person, taking burden away from the taxpayer system. That is something I'm a big fan of. We shouldn't be giving fucking handouts to corporations that make billions. We should be giving out handouts to ordinary people who are preventing us from having to need to pay tax. A single mother of two children, also looking after her father, also running a business. That's the kind of person we should be fucking supporting.
I was at an age where I was thinking about those things for my 20s to mid-30s, because at that point I was saving for a house. She says that was to be quite honest, that in that day and age, that was the correct way of thinking. It was make sure you got a house, then make sure you start getting your pension together. But now it's slapped us in the face.
The financial burden of the UK is so acute upon the British people and British society that we have reached a point of where we have to fix the tax system. And I don't care if the corporations leave. There will always be another corporation to take their place. But remember what I've said to you before, Britain. It is the politicians' mates who they don't want leaving the country for people they don't know who won't give them backhanders. That is the fundamental reality we live in. Carry on, mate. Sorry.
For starting her own company, 47-year-old worked in... No, I've done that bit. It was only after becoming self-employed 2 years ago that the reality dawned on her. I had this massive wobble. I was building up a new business, and all of a sudden, when I had to remortgage on my own, I had to had this sort of realization where I thought, oh my God, I can't keep putting it off. Scroll down 60 pages, so I didn't need to continue to read there. Now she set aside £200 each month in preparation for retirement, but this is not an easy feat. She says that our generation of women is under so much pressure owing to demands from children, looking after parents and coping financially.
Absolutely. And I completely agree. And again, madam, if you probably won't see our podcast, but if you do, I'm the kind of person, and so's him, who believes you're doing a fantastic job, because dementia care is very expensive. The fact that you are looking after your dementia father, fantastic. You are saving taxpayers' money. You should be reimbursed for that. You should receive some kind of tax haven for you. Fuck the corporate elite. I say it every fucking time. They should not be given tax havens. They should not be given tax breaks.
We should be given tax breaks.
The working fucking people. If my old dear had dementia, I would have to take care of her, because I'd feel morally obliged. There's no way I'm sticking my mum in a fucking dementia care home, because that is a burden to the British taxpayer by doing that. What she's doing, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Laudable, no less. Fucking laudable. I'm personally ecstatic by the reality of that being what it is. I think she's done something that should be praiseworthy, Chris, in every possible capacity.
I say the only thing I can take from that is she's done exceptionally well, but it is getting tougher on the generation.
On a woman who's got a business, 2 kids in a fucking house, looking after her dad.
I can understand why they now call it sandwich generation.
Because we are being sandwiched.
You're looking after 3 generations.
Yeah. Looking after yourself, your parents, and your kids. Gen Xers are carrying a huge amount of weight in Western society right now. Because we're coming to the end of our working career lives, you know, and the millennials are starting to be the middle belt, and you're feeling
starting to feel it. Don't worry.
The millennials are starting to feel it. Quite like, how do you do it, motherfucker? Shoulder up. It only gets harder from here.
That's what I need to earn some extra money fast.
Exactly. I've been thinking that for the last decade. But the reality is, what that woman is doing is amazing. I have nothing but praise for her. I really don't, because I think what she has achieved is Herculean. Yes, that's Wonder Woman fucking style stuff. Looking after dementia dad, 2 kids, house.
Unfortunately, that's what I expected.
It shouldn't be expected. There should be a tax bracket. She should get a tax rebate for that. She should get a chunk of her tax back because she's not burdening the system with a dementia parent. Fucking Jesus Christ.
The system was well paid for. She wouldn't have to worry about that.
Absolutely. If the tax system was rebalanced, a lot of our problems would be resolved. And people are just not willing to take the hard political decisions that need to be taken now because there are too many interested groups with their hands. Like if Mr. Bailey was if Christopher, I'll cut that. If Christopher was the Tory man, I've got too many people have got his hands in his pockets. That is a fucking problem. We need to start cutting those fucking hands off and start fixing the actual problems for the British people in general. Last article I've got for today. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu plans for a new military push into Gaza Strip, has raised warnings from his own army leadership. Oppositions for hostage families concerns that most Palestinians will be killed. They also risk isolating his country even further.
Isolating even further?
Yeah. Ahead of a security cabinet meeting where proposals to take over the entire Gaza city were approved by an absolute majority, Netanyahu has given an interview to Fox News in which he said Israel intends to take full control of Gaza to assure Israel's security, remove Hamas from power, and enable the transfer of civilian governments to another party without giving details. But he suggested that Israel did not want to keep the territory himself. We don't want to govern it, Netanyahu has said in English. He's lying. He's absolutely lying because all of his fucking ministers want to. All of his right-wing people want to take it over and expel the Palestinians. We know that's their plan. We need to stop these fuckers from lying to us. What they say in Hebrew to their own population are now being translated by world translation things. We know they're lying to our fucking face, and we need to accept the fact that they're lying to our face. He did not give details about possible arrangements on which countries could be involved. Still, there was a rare indication of what he might be envisioning for a post-war of Gaza. For now, however, Netanyahu wants an expand offensive that is likely to see the Israeli military, which says it controls about 75% of the territory, operating in Gaza City and camps in the central part of the Strip, where around 1 million Palestinians live and the hostages are thought to be held. The potential operation, which could take months, would mean the mass displacement of people with the potential to worsen the humanitarian crisis there. It's already fucking monstrous. There is a mass starvation going on. People are dying. Children are dying from malnutrition. It's already fucking bad. This could spark fresh condemnations from countries that have expressed anger over the situation in Gaza and urge Israel to end its near 2-year war, which has started as a response to Hamas's attack on Israel at October the 7th, 2023. It didn't start on October the 7th. I need to fucking state that. It didn't start on October the 7th. It started in the Nakbas. It started in the expulsion of Palestinians in the Six-Day War. It has been an ongoing conflict that Israel has been expelling tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians over decades. We need to put this into context. In a sign of major divergence between the policy and military leadership, the Israeli Army Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐷, told Netanyahu that the full occupation of Gaza was tantamount to walking into a trap, according to reports in the Israeli media. 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐷, the reporter said, warned the offensive would endanger the lives of 20 hostages who believed to be alive, as well as soldiers who are exhausted. Many of the hostage families share these concerns, and they say the only way to guarantee the release of the hostages is through a negotiation deal with Hamas. According to the Maven News Report, the previous assessment that is the most impossible of all, the living hostages will die during an expanded offensive, either killed by their captives or accidentally by Israeli soldiers. There's no accident. The Israelis have shot their own fucking captives multiple times. They shoot anything that moves that isn't wearing an Israeli uniform. Women, children, fucking babies, elderly, their own fucking side, journalists, care workers, food people. They shoot anything not in an Israeli uniform. Americans, they don't give a fuck. They're evil. They're fucking evil.
Shit, Americans. How the fuck is America not turning?
America's politicians are bought and paid for, Chris. They shoot American journalists. They shoot American fucking aid workers. They shoot fucking food kitchen people. They shoot anything not in an Israeli uniform. That is how Israel's military operates. And when people criticize it, hey, you're anti-Semitic. You're not anti-Semitic for saying stop fucking murdering everybody, you nutcases. It's going to get worse. And yet 𝐾 is a Zionist. Our Prime Minister is a Zionist. If Israel does this, we need to sack the Prime Minister. We need to send a message to every pro-Zionist in the country, get the fuck out of our country. We don't want you, you genocide-supporting bastards. Every fucking Zionist in the UK should pack their bags and get the fuck out. Especially the Tories, the Labour MPs, and the fucking Liberal Democrats. Everybody who is a friend of Israel needs to be fired. If this comes to be a pass, they must go. So do the fucking bankers who support them. And I don't care if that's considered politically fucking dynamite. I think that's us for the time. Are you done?
No, I've got the brick card.
Oh, go for the brick card. My apologies. Carry on.
All right. Now going from foreign affairs to local affairs. Yeah. Brick card. Is it good or bad at the moment? It seems it's, as I call in the startup stages. It is the current points that I've been able to get out of all the documents I've read so far, whether it's good or bad. Immigration control. Because obviously, for them that don't know, it's a digital ID, basically for you, so they can identify you online, basically, and find out where you are. Immigration control, knowing who's here illegally or not. To be quite honest, I thought we had a similar system in place already of tracking who's actually here legally anyway. Can be a positive, but at the moment, with the way the immigration's happening with everything else, not really. Right to work. With the current right to work processes they got in place, it's actually easier for employers to hire legal migrants because they've got a digital track record than the actual local population. Did you know that? Is it a fact, obviously, when we get hired or whatnot, we have to file a passport or
that's normal, especially in the industry I'm in at the moment.
Yeah. So literally, obviously, that's to prove that you're who you are. When obviously, if you're a migrant, you naturally come with the documentation already. So it's an easier hire for them. But then I'm thinking, well, will that actually make our right to work easier?
I think the digitalization brick card is going to be an infringement on our freedom of expression.
Hang on. And then potential of linking bank accounts.
No, fuck off.
This is where it gets murky. It doesn't matter what it will be used for. For example, if it's to speed up credit checks and approval of finances like mortgages and loans to be used, that's fine. That's as I call that's an advancement within the digital age. If it's to speed up stuff, which usually take weeks, months to do, I could see that working. But then it depends on if it's used against us. For example, if for whatever reason you're flagged as troublesome, criminal, or everything else, that could lock you out of your bank account.
Yeah, I have a distinct problem with any kind of over policing of our personal details online. I really do. I think the more centralized that they try to come this, the more we should fight it. VPNs should be normal now, because have you seen the Digital fucking Safety Act? Apparently, I'm a kiddie fiddler for not wanting my online material be known to the government.
Fuck off.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I've got a serious fucking problem with
I've got a VPN to protect my own fucking goddamn digital footprint online.
Absolutely. And likewise. And I'm not even apologetic about it.
Yeah. And that ties nicely into my major concerns. Identity stolen. As our world advances, so does criminal act. People privacy is going to change, but in which manner? The cost of it being implemented, who's going to foot the bill? But there again, if we turn around and have a digital ID, how are we going to protect it from people being stealing it? If we're not allowed VPNs, because the fact they want to see all our data, that turns around and means that everybody else can then see all our data.
Yeah, no. I'm fundamentally of the opinion that
and we all know for a fact who's going to foot the bill. It's going to be us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely through the things and everything else, and obviously the cost of it being implemented. And will it be implemented correctly? Because we all know, turn around, oh yeah, we do it for this, we do it for that, for your benefit and everything else. When really, there's paragraphs or subclauses, all the government can use your data for whatever they deem necessary.
Yeah, I don't trust anything the government does without digital footprint.
That's what I found on the brick card so far. I'm literally thinking, well, immigration control, there's already a system in place already. We need to improve it. Right to work, there's already a system in place. There are ways we can advance it within the digital age if to make things easier for us to be hired. Fine, fair enough. If it's to make our lives easier and getting mortgages, loans and everything else so we can live, good. But then there's backfalls to everything.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I fundamentally do not trust the BritX card because the Brit card, because the reality is it's a tracking system, and I don't want to be tracked online by anyone.
The conclusion so far, even though it promises some benefits to improving our digital advancement within our daily lives at the moment, I believe that it's not the right time to implement this under our current issues have to be worked out on paper, as going digital will only amplify the issues.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And how secure will these cards be from hacking? That's
stolen identities is one of the major concerns.
Yeah. See, no, fuck no. I just no, because this comes towards digital banking as well. We're a moneyless society. I will not ever agree in if there's a vote on moneyless society. Like there's been this push that the banks have been always moving towards a moneyless society. You can't control your money at that point.
Hang on. Is any other country going towards a moneyless society?
Yeah, a lot of Europe.
A lot of Europe.
And America. They all want to do it. The Western countries. I don't want to do that. I am dead set against the idea of my money being tracked by anyone for any fucking reason.
Honestly, since I've worked in retail, I know for a fact it is an even split between digital and actual currency that's used.
Yeah, absolutely. And it should stay that way.
Obviously, depending on what retail sector you work in, it may sway one way more.
Oh, of course, because if you've got big purchases, you would use a card.
Yeah.
But people's personal purchases and personal purchase history should absolutely be untouchable.
I'm not gonna lie, I mainly use my card for everything, but I do have cash.
Just the idea of a totally cashless society and everything being tracked via your biometrics and that being able to be locked out by government. Nah, they have to put the safety laws in first.
Biometrics, that's next. I think that'll be the next after the brick card. Brick card's just digital identity. Biometrics be the next thing.
And this is the slippery slope. That's why I want to put brakes on this now.
They offer biometrics. You got biometrics immigration documents.
This is a fucking slippery slope. It's an invasion of your digital and personal privacy, Britain. And you need to be fucking careful about this. It's not conspiracy theory. They are talking about this shit publicly and openly these days.
There's already several acts which you've already turned around and put in place
that are leading to a footprint to this.
That's building the foundations for this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was
reading and watching some videos online. There's can't remember the name of the act now, but there is an act which we can't opt out of, which shares our digital data with the government to a certain degree already.
Fucking hell. VPN's the way forward, people. VPN, and fuck anything the British government says.
Because the government also want access to encrypted messaging systems.
No.
So like WhatsApp and everything else. And WhatsApp is a big one for turning and going, nobody could see what you send in, including us. Yeah. Which is the reason why I think WhatsApp's popularity has gone through the roof, because of the fact that no one can see what...
It's private conversations.
It's a private conversation. The only way I believe they should ever get access to that will be through the criminal justice system.
Yeah, of course.
Be for that,
court order.
For that specific person only.
Yeah, court orders.
Yeah, court orders in order to investigate crimes. That's the only way it should be done.
Fucking joke.
Yeah,
Fucking joke.
Any other way? No, you can go fuck off.
Absolutely.
That's literally as called Big Brother.
And I don't want to live in a society like that. Anyway, we've come to the end of our podcast, and as always, it has been a pleasure. I'm Sean, John, or Yasha, depends on who you're asking.
I'm Chris. Have a smashing day.
And this is Your Voice, Your Nation. Thank you for joining us again for our podcast. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.